Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm just waiting for you to say I'm a singer-songwriter, which is what you always say.
What does that mean? I secretly...
I think you've got a secret desire.
Secret desire is a headline Glastonbury.
Oh, Elton John on Glastonbury.
Good.
He was amazing. I mean, I wasn't there. I couldn't face the
on.
queue. Yeah. How old is he? Is he about...
That's not his real hair, is it?
It's not his real hair or his real name.
Or his real face.
Oh,
Maybe he's
bless him.
not real.
He's an icon.
Oh, John is just
an
robot.
illusion. Just a rocket man.
Yeah, he's just a rocket man.
Hi, Owen Cutts.
Hi. How are you?
I'm okay. Welcome to our podcast. I'm okay, though.
This is our podcast. I'm okay, though. I'm Owen Cutts. I'm a... no, joking. I'm a songwriter, producer from London. You are...
Jodie Cariss. I am a therapist and the founder of Self Space, which is a contemporary mental health service.
Lovely.
Do you have FOMO about festival season?
Nope.
You know, I've never had it before, ever. Like, I know what I like and what I don't like, and
Really?
I don't do queues unless I can, like, feel really looked after and special. I don't really want to go to things, which sounds ridiculous, but I don't have the energy anymore.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But for the first time this year, I felt a little bit like I wish I was in the... not that I wish I was in that massive crowd at Glastonbury, gosh. But maybe a part of me wanting to be part of something.
Okay.
Of that sort.
Is it just Glastonbury that you've had it with, or you've had it with other things?
Actually, I noticed I'm not very good in like groups of people, like big groups. I tend to be much better one-to-one.
Yeah.
But I've had a bit of feeling, not even griefy, but maybe a bit of like left out, that I don't have a big group to sit in the park with or a big group to go to X with. And I wonder if that's because I met my husband when I was quite young, my ex-husband, and I think I missed out on a portion of my life. A chunk of that kind of growing up
big
piece.
Group activities.
Big group activities. Do you hang out in group?
I had a massive group.
You had all your mates, didn't you?
And the only thing that stopped that is like families and children and jobs. I think if we had it our way, we'd still be sort of in the park.
On BMX6.
What?
On your BMXs.
On BMXs, yeah, footballs and
eating ice pops.
Beers and
beers.
I mean, we went from like teenagers doing it. We just carried on. Just well into our 20s, like hanging out in big groups at parks. It's
house parties and stuff like that.
Holidays.
Did you all take mates on holiday with you?
Yeah, I went for a couple years in a row. I went to Greece with like, at the worst, probably about 25 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. And we'd all go to this one Greek island that one of our friends was from.
Did he have a house there then?
He had a house there, yeah.
That's so cool, isn't it?
We didn't stay in his house, but yeah, he knew the islands and we just sort of bum around together. And
amazing.
we just go back every year. And every year more people would come. It was great.
Yeah, holidays. I did have like group holidays like that actually, but I've never really done that festival thing.
No, I can't stand festivals. It's not for me.
No.
It's like...
Would you take your kids?
I don't know, because I just find them so draining and like everything in between the music is what annoys me.
Yeah.
It's like everyone is just mash up all the time.
Yeah.
Stumbling around everywhere. If it's hot, you can't find shade. If it's raining, you can't find
anywhere warm.
You can't find anywhere warm. Everyone wants to stop and take a piss. People want... Also, what you don't realise until you go to Glastonbury is how big it is.
Yes, the enormity of it. I was looking, I was like, wow, there's just thousands and thousands of people.
But it's like, let's go and see the Arctic Monkeys on Amazing. That could be like you walking from like Camden to like Kensal Rise. It's like a borough of London.
Yeah, it's enormous. And then you're walking. I'd be so tired. And also, I'm not very good. Like when I want to go home, I want to go home immediately.
Yeah, but I want to go home.
I want to go home.
I don't want to go to it.
And I don't want to mess around. I want to take my makeup off. I want to feel cozy. I am not good at that type of... If I was in the middle of a crowd and I knew I had to walk X amount of miles to get home to a sweaty tent, I think it wouldn't be good for my mental health.
No, not at all. Not at all. I want to, what I could do, I think I could go and just go rogue for like a night.
One night.
I could like go in on like if I knew that I was gonna know people there.
Yes.
I could turn up.
Yeah.
Rogue it for like 24 hours
and then go home.
Go home.
Yeah, maybe that
could be fun. Like just Rambo it on your own for like, and then bump into people and say hello and whatever.
Yeah, because then you haven't got loads of people to be kind of deciding who wants to do this and who wants to do that.
It's just like, oh.
Yeah.
And like, it gets to a certain point in the night where like, just the dance music comes out and it's like, that's all you hear anywhere.
Yeah.
And everyone seems to be loving it apart from me.
Are you not really... I mean, look, I think this is on topic. We're going to be talking a bit today about self-worth, aren't we? And confidence and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think this is sort of themic because it's about how we know ourselves, right? How we bring ourselves to the table in a way that feels like authentic.
Yeah.
That we know ourselves. But yeah, the dance music. Also, I'm not great. I'm not a big, massive drinker.
Yeah.
And I'm not great when other people are really drunk because I feel like they could be talking to anyone.
Yeah.
And it does nothing for my sense of self. And also I can't be bothered to put energy into it.
And they come really close.
I'd just rather go shush up now. Just shush up and sit down.
Just go away. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe festivals are not for us, babe.
Yeah. Also, when you don't partake as much in situations like that, kind of like feel this sort of responsibility
to look after everyone,
people, and be like, oh, they've had too much. Let me just make sure they don't like
lose their phone.
Yeah, lose their phone or like fall into a ditch. Oh, I don't know. You know, it's just like
you become the grown up,
a bit the designated.
Yeah.
Grown up.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, actually, like I'm here to have just as much fun as you.
To relax.
Just because you've taken it too far doesn't mean that like. It's not a sliding scale. You've had too much fun, so now I have like
less
fun. Yeah, less fun.
But I notice that I'm getting to the point with my kids where they want to do stuff, so they want to do this more. So they're talking about going to festivals, and I just took them to Ibiza.
Yeah.
And now I've become that adult that stands at the side holding coats and going, has everyone been to the loo? And they're just like, oh my God, she's so embarrassing. But it's definitely like that transition period where they're not quite big enough.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're quite big enough to do it themselves, but they still really want to be part of the world that they think it
That's
is.
interesting. And also talking about what the subject is today is like with a kid, you kind of like authentically show up as yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's all you can do, right? When you're a kid.
Yeah.
And then it sort of disappears when you get a bit self-conscious and a bit like
aware of other people's needs.
And then when does it come back?
Well, I think it depends in childhood what your home situation is like, honestly.
Yeah.
About whether or not you are able to really find yourself. Because I think if you're in an environment which calls for you to be an adult early because you've got parents that are maybe addicts or their mental health isn't good, or you've got a household which is dysfunctional, sometimes that can propel you into being an adult way quicker.
And what does that do?
Well, in terms of your mental health, you might find that you missed out on a whole period of your life because you had to be the grown-up early. And then as you get older, you suddenly find yourself not wanting that role anymore. So you might regress.
Right.
But you know, our childhood follows us everywhere. So it might be that we had over-controlling parents or parents that kind of over babied us, didn't want us to grow up, were dependent on us, which also impacts you in later life and your mental health. So these things that we find as an adult, like I was always quite the grown-up in my family. I kind of had to be, really.
You had a large family, don't you?
Quite a big family. You know, when I talk to my mum, she always says, "Oh, you were such a good girl. You were so good all the time." But I don't think there was really any room for me to be naughty.
Right.
There wasn't really the safety. You know, sometimes when kids act out, or it's a really healthy sign because it means they feel safe enough to say, "Well, you don't love me," or "You're a shit parent," or whatever.
Okay.
Often when that's really true,
Yeah.
children are not able to do it.
Right.
Because what would be the point?
Yeah.
So in a way, I think you know, where we get to in our adult lives is often, you know, a part of where we've come from, of course.
Right. So could like you not showing up for yourself, you could link that back. You could have a little thing if you feel like that you do that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you find that you might notice that you repeat patterns, or you're still holding the role that you always had as a child now as an adult, and maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to be different. You know, we were talking earlier about you and saying, was it around people pleasing we were talking about, or?
Yeah, it was like I had a message from someone saying, "Are you around? Can I call you in 10 minutes?" And I was driving. I read the message safely, and I was driving, and I had to go to a supermarket and pick up some food, and I basically had a few things to do. I basically wasn't available in 10 minutes. That was the truth of it. But when I got this message, I was like, like I was kind of like trying to think of how I could be available in 10 minutes.
Because what, in your mind, what would it have said about you if you weren't available in 10 minutes, if you didn't make yourself available?
Well, I'd asked this person for a favor, and they were like, "Yeah, cool, like, but you know, can I call you in 10 minutes to talk about it?" So I felt like I was asked. I couldn't say no because I'd already asked. I felt like I'd put them out to begin with. And then in reality, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm not.
I'm actually driving.
I'm not free in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's the truth of it. And so it was more about sort of, why can't I just say no? I'm not free. Yeah. But I am free, and you know.
Or I'll give you a call in the week.
Yeah, which is what I eventually did.
And it was all fine.
Yeah, it was totally fine. It's like, I don't know what it is about the rush to sort of like, it's almost like if this doesn't happen in that 10 minutes, it's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
And so could you link that back? Were you a bit like that as a child? Is there a way, could you link that back to how you might have been as a kid or in your house? Like if you didn't do something immediately, might you have been told off? Or
yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Or you need to close the gap to just reassure that you're okay and that you'll do the thing, or you are a good boy or that person or whatever, before someone changes their mind about you.
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely it. Is that like, also I'm awful at doing things. If someone asks me, can you just fix that, or can you just do that? I'm like, yeah, and I just don't
ever do it, or you don't do it.
But I just put it off for so long, and it annoys me and everyone around me. So I don't know why.
Is that because you don't want to say no when they first ask you?
Yeah, I think so.
So then you get to the same position,
yeah,
but it causes way more mental stress. Yeah. For yourself and others.
It, isn't it? I don't want to say no.
You don't want to say no. So the easiest thing for you to do is to kind of compromise that yourself, which actually doesn't gain anyone at all. Right?
No, it causes more problems.
Yeah, and also then impacts your self-worth, because then you're like, God, I'm a shit person. I haven't done any of those things. Now I've let everyone down, and now everyone thinks I'm not the person that they want me to be. Yeah. I'm not going to show up. So in a way, we do ourselves a disservice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of mad.
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is notice it, isn't it? And I think, this idea around how worthy we are is one about how we feel inside, i.e., how we most often do not abandon ourselves because we feel good enough to be able to say, I'm still valuable if I say no. I'm still valuable if I disappoint others.
Yeah.
Our worth is not defined by our service to others or what we do in the world. I think that is a really, really strong position for us to be. And then the other thing I think to notice is that we are not particularly good, particularly in the UK, of having a high value on ourselves.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there's something shaming about it, isn't there? Like if you notice when people take pictures and if everyone's gathered around looking at the picture, everyone's going, oh, I look awful or I don't like. No one ever says I look banging in that picture.
Yeah.
Amazing. Look at me. They might think it, but they never say it because they don't want anyone to think, God, they think a lot of themselves.
But that is what you're looking for. Like, when you look through like...
You're looking to see if you look good.
You only look at yourself.
Totally.
And you only check whether you look good.
Like, how many times have you posted pictures where I've got a friend and she's like, you've posted a picture where I basically look like Donald Duck with no eyes in the background and you look amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I didn't even see you.
I didn't even know you were in the photo.
But there is something about that, isn't there? Like, we culturally do not, I don't think, often enough celebrate ourselves.
Well, it's not massively celebrated in society.
No.
I don't think it's like oh.
God, they're a bit full of themselves.
Yeah,
Selfish is the thing.
Themselves.
Yeah, or they're really selfish.
Yeah.
And I actually think being selfish is incredibly healthy and contributes to our self-worth. I don't mean...
Glad you say that. I get called selfish all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, I get to... quite a lot. Yeah.
By lots of people or by just a couple of people?
It's not like either, really. It's just like been quite a common theme.
Really? Do you think you are selfish?
No. I've always agreed with you and thought it was quite a positive thing. Like, I was always I'd always say, if we were going out and you didn't have any money, but I really wanted to go out and have a good time, and I lent you money so you could come with me and have a good time, which meant I had a good time, then that's selfish.
Is it?
No, I don't think it is, but do you know what can you see the kind of weird way around?
Well, is it more that people think, well, you just want to go out anyway? So is it more that, or... Because I think that we need to be selfish sometimes. We need to be able to go, this is what I need.
I agree.
And I'm going to do it because I'm then going to be a better version of myself.
Well, I think there's a cool new word for selfish, and it's called living your truth. And that's what everyone says now, right?
Or self-love.
He's just...
is another one.
I'm just living my truth. Which is just basically, I'm just being a bit selfish here. But that's all right.
My truth. Yeah, but do you not think, I do think that we can use labels way too readily to get ourselves off the hook.
Yeah.
And we know if we're not doing a good thing, which is like, say you haven't seen your kids in like a few days, and then you're like, well, I'm not going to come to that kids event, because I'm just doing the thing I want to do and living my truth.
Yeah.
Maybe you are, but maybe as well, like, what's the balance here? What's the compromise?
Yeah.
So I think it's something about the kind of middle ground of these things, which is, how do we celebrate ourselves? How do we know what we need?
Yeah.
But how do we understand that we're still in relation to others and we're still
that's the important
in a
thing,
system?
Like, how am I still in relation to others? Because you can be kind of like... Is there a difference between like being selfish and being like
self-less?
No, self-absorbed.
Yeah, I think that's a really good, a really good thing to compare, actually, because self-absorbed is where you can't see anything else other than yourself.
Yeah.
Selfish might be, let's say a good version of selfish might be, I can see the impact on my system here, but I'm deciding that it's okay, it can tolerate it. I'm going to do that for myself because I did the other things around here and I know that I'm going to be available for X or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas self-absorbed just goes, I'm making decisions based just on my narrative.
Yeah.
Without thinking about what else is happening in the bigger system. Because we're all in systems, right? Whether it's a work system, a family system, relationship systems or whatever.
Yeah.
So I do think we have to try to kind of be there with a sense of what's happening for everyone else and what our impact is on anyone and everyone. Sometimes we can disregard that and sometimes we need to really think about it.
But I agree with you that being selfish can be a good thing. That the kind of like self-love part of it.
Yeah.
That we're not showing up for ourselves.
And then we can become brittle. Like if we don't do the things that we need for ourselves, if we constantly, put other people's needs first, we can become quite resentful and brittle.
Yeah.
Which means that we're actually not very much use to anyone. Are you yawning under your hand?
Yeah.
Can you see how he's... I won't tell you. Is that because you didn't want to upset me?
Yeah.
Is it? You didn't want me to...
I don't want you to think of...
You think that me to think that I'm boring.
Yeah. I think is it a bit rude to yawn in someone's face?
I mean, I often yawn in people's faces, but maybe it could be seen as that if I was sensitive to it. But talking about what we're talking about how you are, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't want Jodie to think she's boring. Even though she's well boring quite a lot of the time.
But it's never like you don't ever yawn because you're bored. You yawn.
No, it's the oxygen. It's not getting.
No one's ever been like, "Oh, this is so boring," and then a yawn comes out.
That's so true, actually.
So why do people...
It's not about the other person, is it? It's about you.
Knackered. I'm just like...
And getting oxygen to your brain.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. You open your mouth wider to gulp more oxygen in.
So I'm actually taking more oxygen, concentrating more on the interesting things.
On the conversation.
So it's actually a compliment.
It is a compliment. All right. Like, can we just yawn our way through this?
What country is it where they fart after a meal or burp after a meal and everyone's like, oh, that's a sign that
it was a good meal?
Yeah.
They actually fart?
Some country, yeah. Or some cultures, yeah.
I'm not
Maybe
sure
it's burping and not farting, but flatulence and, or gassiness is a sign of like, that was a really good meal.
Well, we're quite... we have a lot of expectations, don't we, in the UK about how people should be.
Yeah.
And if people are not able to do that, we can think that we're not good enough or we're not worthy or we're not something or other.
Yeah.
And some of them just aren't realistic.
No.
I'm not sure about farting at every meal might not be tolerated.
Yeah. Don't use that as an excuse.
That used to be my, when I was younger, when I was at school, the thing that would terrified me the most was farting in assembly. The idea that you might do that would have, I don't think I'd ever have been able to go back to school.
Yeah.
What was did you have a thing which you were like, I can't imagine?
You know what? I did yoga once and I've got this thing with my back. I mean, I think it's quite popular in yoga, but I didn't realise. But basically, like, if it's hot, hot yoga where you're like sweating and stuff.
Bikram.
If I roll on my back, it makes a fart sound.
Against the mat?
Against the wood or against anything, really.
Oh, it's because of the way your spine is?
Because of my spine, yeah. The base of my... For those listening, I'm pointing to my lower back. And it basically sounds exactly like a fart. And I did it, and it was so loud.
Oh, my God.
And like, I might as well have farted because no one
knows it's your back.
No one knows it's my back. And if I was like, it's my back. Like, no one's going to believe that, are they? Like, oh, no, guys, it wasn't. Sorry.
Did you feel embarrassed?
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot for me to be embarrassed.
Does it?
And nervous, yeah. It takes a lot. I don't really feel it.
You don't feel embarrassed?
No. So I was just a bit like...
Carry on.
Man. Well, I might as well have. Do you know what I mean? That was what was going through my head. Was like, I might as well have just let one rip there because, like... It sounded like it. And I don't know anyone in here. If I knew everyone, it'd be like,
At you.
yeah. Do you know how loud it was? Honestly, like so loud, like the decibels of it.
Amazing.
It's like, yeah, and it was all women. I was the only man. I never went back. Put it that way. So maybe I was a bit embarrassed, but
How have we got from self-worth to pretend farting in yoga?
well, it's because
It's an amazing conversation.
you're embarrassed, aren't you, of yourself in situations.
So this idea of self-worth, because that might humiliate someone so much that they'd have to get up and leave the room.
For sure.
So maybe there is a kind of sense of how confidence and self-worth is wrapped up in that. I also think, a really good contributor to self-worth is to know when you need to apologize and to apologize. I think that really contributes to that.
Ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why do people find it so difficult to apologize?
Because
What is that?
Well, firstly, the way we process is we'd much rather vilify someone else than turn the spotlight on us.
Yeah.
So when a situation emerges, it's much easier to go, well, Owen, he's so difficult. Owen is just like, whatever. It's much easier. It's much easier than going, God, what's my contribution to that? Actually, I wasn't very clear then. Or I think I'm being a bit difficult about this because I don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
That's what we find. So it's not really the apology, I think. Well, the first thing is coming into contact with the shame about what we could have done differently or better.
Yeah.
So we would much rather go, everything else and everyone else is responsible for that.
Yeah.
Rather than, I think that I did not behave well there. So the first thing is I got to feel that shame to know I did it.
Mm.
And then I've got to be able to say, do you know what, Owen, I was thinking about that and I'm so sorry that I did that.
Yeah.
That's the second step. So I think what happens mostly is people can't do the first part
Yeah.
because they'd rather not know about themselves.
Yeah.
They'd rather just pretend. And that's why you hear so many people gossiping and so many people going, well, he said, she said, rather than, do you know what, I am, or I did, or I feel.
Yeah.
So I think that's why. But I think apologizing for things or being able to show up in a way that says, I don't know the answer here, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Or I notice that from kind of running my business, and I definitely don't get it right all the time.
Yeah.
But I find it much better when I come in and I say, I think I messed up here.
Yeah.
To my team, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I think I
definitely.
thought I knew what I was doing, but I don't.
Yeah.
And people respond much better to that, and it helps with your sense of worth and confidence because it's truthful.
I find it really easy to apologize.
Do you?
Yeah, especially when I like, or if I've upset someone, or if I've seen that my actions have been, not the nicest or the coolest, or I can see I could have done that better. I could have gone around that better.
Did someone model apologizing to you? Did that happen in your family?
Yeah, I guess so. There was no sort of like quite little ego in my family, I think. In terms of like, there was no like alpha. There wasn't a lot of like big male energy. It wasn't like, it was all right to apologize. I guess
That's nice.
In a way, like maybe it was all right to be nervous and it was all right to be embarrassed. So it was like I don't really feel it takes a lot
acceptable
for me to be embarrassed. And it has,
because often embarrassment comes from the idea that other people are going to view you in a kind of shameful way, or there's something about that, isn't it? And I think you can notice it in small things, which is like, someone forgot their keys. Okay, cool. That's a bit rubbish for you, rather than, God, why did you forget? I can't believe you forgot your keys, which I can sometimes do to the kids. Or, there might be something in the way that we can encourage a slightly better way of being.
I have it with my kids where I'm trying, like, my go-to is, like, yesterday at lunch, they knocked over 3 drinks. Yeah. Like,
bless them.
just for, exactly. But my thing is like, I turn around and my son knocked over 2, right? And he's the oldest. and I go, "What's wrong with you?"
Why are you doing that?
But I'm really trying to not say what's wrong with you to him.
Yeah. Yeah, bless him.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's nothing wrong with him.
No, he's just a kid.
Just a kid who reached for a pencil and knocked over a drink.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like that. Like, what's the matter with you?
Why have you done that?
What's
Why are
wrong
you
with
not
you?
perfect?
Yeah, like, and he's like, I didn't mean to do it. And I'm like, yeah, it's just, you know, when he does it twice,
It's annoying.
ice and apple juice everywhere.
Oh God, another £7 apple juice down the
Do you know
drain.
what I mean?
But there's something in that, isn't there? Even the fact that you're able to have that reflection, which is, sorry, buds, I didn't mean what's wrong with you. But can you see that it's a bit annoying that another? Yeah, I can actually.
Yeah.
Cool. He's not traumatized by that. Then I'm not saying he would be, but you know, he doesn't have an experience which is attacking his self-worth.
Yeah.
He's able to go, oh, that is a bit annoying, but I'm not fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, I've just realised at the end of the meal, he was like, "Are we gonna get ice cream?" Like, and I was like,
"I'm a bad person."
I don't know. He was like, "Yeah." He just went, "Yeah, I don't think we've been well behaved."
Bless him.
And I was like, "Oh,
did you get him ice cream?"
yeah, of course.
Of course you did.
He's always gonna get ice cream. Like, he hasn't worked. He's not worked that one out yet. No matter what he does, he's always gonna get ice cream. But it was that.
There's definitely something in that, in the environment, which is it, you know, does the environment tell me I'm not a good enough person? And it happens with feelings. This is why we're so all ashamed of being feeling beings. Stop crying. Pull yourself together. Why are you crying?
Yeah.
You know, stop having that feeling. Well, I'm not my feeling.
Yeah.
And it's...
Might never happen.
Yeah, exactly. Pull yourself together. Cheer up.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Is that an English thing?
Yeah. I think it's the world over, actually. I think feelings terrify others, particularly parents, often.
We don't want to, like, see it in our faces.
They're irrational. Like, they're really difficult to contain and control. But we're much better to say, you look really sad, Owen. Oh, rather than, oh, I'm uncomfortable with the fact you're sad.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of, come on.
Yeah.
Brush it off and off we go.
Now, don't be silly.
Yeah, so there's something so validating about being able to kind of accept what's coming and what we see, even in adult relationships. It's like, I think you look really angry now.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're feeling a bit angry about that.
Yeah.
I think it is a much more productive way of being.
Yeah.
Rather than either shutting it down or being defensive or you're that thing.
So if we can start doing that for other people, do you think we can start doing
and for ourselves as well? I think it does help with our self-worth, because if we're able to accept all that we are, which is, I am a complicated, messy feeling being, and we're able to know that that's okay, it gives us a sense of being okay about who we are. And there's that really good activity, which I don't know whether we've talked about this before, because I can't even remember 4 minutes ago, let alone episode 1, is take a minute every morning to sit on your bed and ask yourself, have we talked about this?
We have, but I think it's quite
relevant. What am I feeling? Like, what do I feel today? And accept the things that you feel, like, without any kind of judgment. I'm jealous, I'm angry. And then what do I need? What is it that I need right now?
Yeah.
And just allow yourself to know those things is really helpful in kind of grounding your worth. Because if I validate, if I'm able to validate my feelings, then I feel kind of way more confident in myself and way more kind of worthy somehow.
Yeah. Are there any more things I was going to ask? Are there, like, any more things we can do to help ourselves a bit better?
Yeah, I think giving yourself time to kind of catch up with yourself. We've got, like, a really always on busy culture, haven't we? And I think that in itself denies us the opportunity of kind of trying to settle down with who we are and what's happening. And that's where we can make mistakes or start saying yes when we mean no. Or, you know, all the things that we do which are not that helpful. So I think trying to take moments to just be and kind of settle down. I think notice when you're compromising yourself because you think that it might disappoint others or it's not what's expected, and try to do that less.
Yeah.
Try to do that less. Try to know that you're worth taking time for yourself.
Yeah.
You're worth the new socks, or you're worth whatever it is you need. Know that it doesn't need any justification. And I think that helps. That really kind of helps.
Yeah. Definitely.
How we are and how we feel.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's maybe not enough, but there's a few.
Start though, isn't it? If you wake up in the morning
and you can check in,
and then throughout the day,
and also kind of know that you don't have to take the legacy of your family system on with you. You're just yawning out of control now, aren't you? To make a point, you're just like, I am just going to yawn at her now. If you're just listening, since we talked about yawning, Owen has done nothing but yawn.
You can probably hear it. Probably hear my yawns.
Yawning is cool though, isn't it? It makes you feel really.
Let's bring yawning back. Let's make yawning
and
like
stretching as well. Like
have a big stretch. If you're listening, have a big
stretch. Have a massive stretch.
Stretching's so nice.
It's so good, isn't it? You could do that back thing here if you want. You could do your yoga stretching in your back thing. Stretching is really good, but like moments like that, like connecting to your body, connecting to yourself, like whatever it is you need.
That was really nice.
Stretching.
There's lots of things you can do throughout the day, I guess, to sort of like keep yourself in check and keep yourself
present.
Noticing when you're doing something that's going against what you really want to do.
And just all the little tiny communications you make to yourself, whether it's drinking enough water, whether it's getting outside, whether it's like a few deep breaths. All of these things say I'm worth it.
I think for me anyway, drinking water makes a dramatic difference.
Yeah, totally. And it's the little things that we forget to do.
Keep hydrated.
She says as she drinks some water.
Yeah, it's okay, well, lovely to see you. And
see you at Glasgow next year, yeah?
Yeah. I'll be in the hot yoga tent farting.
Amazing. I'll be at the front yawning. Yeah. It will be wicked.
All right.